Good evening to everyone joining us today. My name is Vandana Bhaskar, President of the Student Council at St. Aloysius PU College, Mangalore. John F. Kennedy once said, "No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings." And on that note, I am honored to welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of St. Aloysius Pre-University Model United Nations Digital Conference powered by DSA Labs. At this time of great need, let us pray for the well-being of all the people around the world and begin the ceremony by seeking the blessings of the Almighty. You are requested to be seated in a prayerful posture.
In moments like this, I sing out a song. I sing out a love song to you, Lord. In moments like this, I lift up my hands. I lift up my hands to the Lord, singing, I love you, Lord. Singing, I love you, Lord. Singing, I love you, Lord. I love you. In moments like this, I sing out a song. I sing out a love song to you, Lord. In moments like this, I lift up my hands. I lift up my hands to the Lord, singing, I praise you, Lord. Singing, I praise you, Lord. Singing, I praise you, Lord. I praise you.
I request Blanche Rodriguez, Secretary of the Student Council, to welcome the virtual gathering.
A very good evening to everyone watching this event. William Shakespeare said, "Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast." It is an honor for me to be welcoming all of you to the inaugural ceremony of the second edition of St. Aloysius Pre-University Model United Nations powered by DSA Labs. It is my pleasure to welcome our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Subramanian Ganesh, IRS, the Deputy Director of Income Tax of the Mangalore Investigation Unit. Presiding over today's inaugural ceremony is the newly appointed Rector of St. Aloysius Institutions, Reverend Father Melvin Pinto SJ. A warm welcome to you, Father. I would also like to welcome the Principal of St. Aloysius Pre-University College, Reverend Father Clifford Sequeira SJ, for gracing this occasion with his presence. A hearty welcome to our Finance Officer, Father Vinod Paul SJ, our Campus Minister, Reverend Father Sujay Daniel SJ, the Vice Principals, Deans, and the staff of SAPUC. I am glad to welcome our Secretariat members, the Secretary General, Mr. Azan Ibrahim, the Director General, Mr. Naufal Kalam, the President, Mr. Jasim Siraj, the Vice President, Mr. Mohammad Shamil Shakur, and all the distinguished chairpersons of the committees. An important element of a MUN is the array of delegates that participate. A warm welcome to all our delegates. The SAPMUN team hopes that this experience enriches you. A hearty welcome to you all once again.
Thank you, Blanche. We are honored to have Mr. Subramanian Ganesh, IRS, Deputy Director of Income Tax, Mangalore Investigation Unit, as our chief guest today. I request Jasim Siraj, President of SAPMUN, to introduce the chief guest of the evening.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to everybody once again. It is indeed a proud privilege and honor to have in our midst the suave, dynamic and ingenious Mr. Subramanian Ganesh. Clearing his UPSC in the year 2015, IRS Subramanian sir is currently the Deputy Director of Income Tax Unit. His impeccable blend of wit, charm, and elegance makes him the perfect speaker our audience deserve. SAPMUN 2020, powered by DSA Labs, has the honor of having you, sir, to address us today. We look forward to your enlightening words of insight and wisdom. Over to you, sir.
Respected Father Melvin Pinto, respected Father Clifford Korea, respected professors, teachers, students from the organizing committee, all the other participants, bros and sisters. A very good evening to one and all. Being invited for SAPMUN 2020 is actually a privilege for me. When I inquired about Aloysius Institution, the one thing that came out is that Aloysius Institution is extremely active in providing cultural opportunities to all their students so that the youth find a platform to voice out their opinion on global issues. And SAPMUN 2020 is one such initiative where you find a platform to voice out your opinion on multiple issues. In this inaugural session, I would like to start with a small story. On a very cool Saturday evening, there was a party happening in a pub. In this party, all of them are dancing and having a very good time. There were ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, kids, everyone are dancing. They're having merry. Suddenly, what happened? Lights went off. When the lights went off, there was one girl who was stamping on something which is very long. It was long, and when she was stamping it, it was going this side and that side. The girl started shouting, "Snake, snake, snake." As the light is off, everyone were running around in a panic mode, saying there is snake in the particular party hall. Entire hall, entire stadium, the entire place, pub, was filled with fear. And there was one wise gentleman who just went and switched on the generator. The minute generator got on, the minute lights were on, they got to see that it's just a normal electric tube which the lady stamped. Friends, just think about this. A minute earlier, everyone were in a panic because they were thinking it's a snake. Everyone were in fear because they were thinking it's a snake. The minute light is on, darkness goes. The minute faith comes, fear goes. The minute the knowledge comes that this is not snake, this is just an electric tube, the ignorance goes. I repeat it. The minute light is on, darkness goes. The minute faith comes inside you, fear goes. The minute knowledge comes inside you, ignorance goes. It is not otherwise around. It is not otherwise around. Darkness does not bring light. Light chases away the darkness. Faith chases away the ignorance. Knowledge chases away the fear. This we have to understand in this present context because this institution gives you faith by providing a lot of cultural opportunities to voice out your own opinions. This particular initiative gives you an opportunity to understand and become more knowledgeable so that you can chase your ignorance on global issues. This particular institution gives you light in terms of confidence in you, so that you can chase away the darkness of stage fear and everything else when you go to the real life. Friends, again, let's try to understand. The minute you move from this particular institution to the real world, what you are going to be challenged is on your skills. It's on how confidently you are able to conduct in the public forum, how confidently you are able to express about yourself and other issues without hurting others' sentiments, largely about peaceful coexistence. This UN platform, which the delegates are going to argue with their sharp opinions, it is only to make everyone understand that the world is always not on single opinion. It is made up of multiple opinion. The world is made of diversities. World is made of differing opinions. In this differing opinion, there exists a peaceful coexistence. For this peaceful existence, and for you to take this world with faith, knowledge, and light, let's celebrate an initiative of SAPMUN 2020 and make it a very successful and grand event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are very glad to have with us our new rector, Reverend Father Melvin Pinto SJ, presiding over this function. It is indeed a blessing to have Father Melvin as the new rector. He is a man with intellectual depth, extensive public relations skills, experience of working internationally, and above all, a humane, jovial, approachable, and compassionate person. I request Father Melvin to share a few words with all of us.
A very good evening to one and all, and greetings to you from the St. Aloysius institutions. I'm extremely happy to address you all this evening at this year's edition of the SAPMUN, which is a very interesting as well as competitive enterprise. It is involving young people to understand national and global issues. We are indeed living in difficult circumstances of a seemingly never-ending pandemic, with numerous yet necessary restrictions imposed on us for our own safety as well as the safety of the society in which we live in. However, the best part of the pandemic is that it has motivated these organizers of the SAPMUN to be innovative in an attempt to hold these sessions online. The world is facing complex problems, which may have natural causes like the pandemic, but many a problem of conflict and war, discrimination and injustice is on account of human greed and selfishness. Actually, there are solutions to most of these problems. If every citizen would think of the good of every other individual in society, and if every country were to think globally, when we have divisive language referring to us and them, we move away from these ideals of Rabindranath Tagore, who envisaged a free nation that was not part of a world that has been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, as he was putting it. We are a paralyzed society. If we develop narrow concerns of our own community, caste, class, language, group, or sect, we need to enlarge our heart to such an extent that we find space for everyone, especially the poor and the needy, the victims of violence and oppression. I would dare say we need to go beyond narrow nationalistic thinking and be patriotic enough to embrace the whole world with love. While patriotism is devoted love and defense of one's country or national loyalty, nationalism is an excessive and aggressive patriotism where you think of the welfare of your own nation state exclusively, with either no concern for other nations or viewing the neighboring countries as though they were enemies with a hostile attitude at its worst. Under the banner of the United Nations, we ought to have patriotic nations which look to the good of the whole world and be concerned about the suffering nations. The world body should think as one unit without hidden agendas of promoting their own economies and political influence. I'm glad we have forums such as the SAPMUN, where you think globally as youth. This world belongs to you, young minds, who have learned to think out of the box. You have your own ideas and your own ways of challenging the status quo. And therefore, I feel happy to be a part of you students, and I'm very impressed by your passion for discussing and figuring out solutions for some of the world's toughest problems. It is indeed very exciting to see you come up with creative solutions to big social and environmental problems like education and literacy, disaster relief, conflicts and war, environmental sustainability, and global healthcare. Paul Pullman, Vice Chair of the Board of the United Nations Global Compact, says, "Today we have the largest generation of youth in history, a powerful force for change. 84% of the millennials are convinced that they have a duty to make the world a better place, and many already are, according to socially aware businesses and youth-led campaigns in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. Today's youth are taking stock of existing systems and measuring the gap between where we are now and where they believe we should be. They are asking governments to be accountable. They want economic systems that work for everyone, not just some. Of course, they react strongly to short-sighted policies that fundamentally affect the society and environment they will inherit. They want to be heard, valued, and considered as partners in development, for they are the ones who will live with decisions made today. Dear friends, I want you all to be a part of that socially, politically, and environmentally conscious youth with global interests and concerns. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. I now call upon the principal of this esteemed institution, Reverend Father Clifford Sequeira, SJ, to address the virtual gathering.
Good evening. Only a couple of weeks ago, the world watched the United Nations General Assembly at work. And today we are here at the SAPMUN 2020. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to our second edition of the Model United Nations, to be held online. Over the past 75 years, the UN has helped negotiate settlements in scores of conflicts, led peacekeeping operations, responded to humanitarian emergencies, and advanced sustainable development goals across the world. Today, the UN is going through one of its most challenging periods ever in the wake of climate crisis, global conflicts, and COVID fallout. In many countries of the world, there is crisis of governance, human rights violations, and marginalization of voices. We are witnessing an erosion of public trust in institutions and traditional politics. Young people in particular are feeling increasingly insecure. Economies are crumbling in the pandemic, erasing job opportunities, pushing hundreds of millions back into poverty, and millions of students are unable to return to school. It is imperative that all you young boys and girls are exposed and well informed about global issues. The power to change and influence lies with you, dear students. History has shown us that it is young people who can change things, and MUN is a perfect opportunity to learn about parliamentary procedures and government functioning. Many critical skills such as public speaking, negotiation, and communications are essential skills. They help build confidence and relationships in all areas of life. I hope you will make the most of this opportunity. On behalf of St. Aloysius PU College, I welcome all of you to this, the second edition of the SAPMUN 2020. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Father. SAPMUN 2020 is glad to be associated with DSA Labs. DSA Labs, a unit of iPoint Interactive Solutions, is focused on developing talent in data science and analytics. Since 2008, iPoint has been a leading brand in corporate learning and development services and has specialized products and programs in behavioral skills, project management, regulatory compliance, and data science. We are grateful for their support and cooperation. When the power of love overcomes the love for power, only then will the world know peace, said Delegate Jamie Hendricks. Today, we have with us Mr. Azan Ibrahim, the Secretary General of SAPMUN and alumnus of St. Aloysius PU College. I request Mr. Azan to address the gathering.
Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Commit yourself to the noble struggle for human rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in." A very good evening to the dignitaries and all present here. Truly, this organization is our one great hope for a peaceful and free world. 7 months ago, when the pandemic struck, it was an awful situation for the world over. Everyone was clueless of how things would turn out. Who would have thought life as we know it would change so much with a complete new definition of normal? An online MUN in Mangalore itself was an unheard concept. And it certainly is commendable how mankind finds new ways to survive and grow even when hardship strikes. Well, when life throws lemons, you enjoy the lemonade. Success lies in making the most of the cards handed to you. Though we may not realize it, on the bright side, the lockdown has given us the time to introspect about our job, academics, or simply figuring out how you want to live life. The key to liberating our planet from vital issues flooding newspapers today, like climate change, terrorism, democracy, economic changes, and the numerous other crises we face today, is to promote dialogue and discussion, eventually taking steps to executing sustainable resolutions. As delegates today and as citizens of the biggest democracy, we need to realize our responsibility to ensure progress and development. So here we are, filled with enthusiasm to take a step forward, be a beacon of change, and face life headlong. Let's pick up the baton of change to work for a better place to live in. With these words, I would like to wish every delegate a delightful deliberation and hope every committee succeeds. With the power vested in me by SAPMUN, I now declare this conference open. Thank you.
Thank you, Azan. It has been an incredible privilege to have you all attend this ceremony today. I request Mr. Shamil Shakur, Vice President of SAPMUN 2020, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Gratitude is the fairest blossom that springs from the soul. It is time to render my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have been part of this inaugural program. On behalf of the management of St. Aloysius PU College, and the entire SAPMUN team, I would like to thank our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Subramaniam Ganesh, IRS, for his insight and wise words that have definitely had a strong impact on us. I would like to thank our rector, Reverend Father Melvin Pinto SJ, for presiding over today's inaugural ceremony. I would also like to thank our principal, Reverend Father Clifford Sequeira SJ, for gracing this occasion with his presence. Our finance officer, Reverend Father Vinod Paul SJ, and campus minister, Reverend Father Sujay Daniel SJ, have been a source of great support, and we thank you for it. I would like to thank our vice principals, Mrs. Charlotte D'Souza and Mr. Murali Krishna GM, our deans, and the teaching and non-teaching staff members of SAPUC for the encouragement in our endeavor. I would also like to thank our sponsors, DSA Labs, a unit of iPoint, Mrs. Mridula Shenoy from Arius Fabs, Ms. Preeti Valerie, and Mr. Kiran Castellino. I would like to thank the delegates for their presence. Lastly, I would like to thank the members of Team SAPMUN for your hard work and contribution in putting together this event.
Thank you, Shamil. I am immensely honored to have been your anchor for the inauguration ceremony. We now come to an end of today's proceeding. We request the delegates to please abide by the following instructions. All delegates must join the committee session tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. Please be dressed in modest Indian traditional clothes for the session. Please use the portfolio name assigned to you when you join the meeting. Thank you. Have a nice day.